Jain friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. They stood up in front of the Khalistanis and they started this counter-protest and somebody called the cops. And when the cops came, they thrashed the Khalistanis and the Khalistanis ran away. If they had this kind of hold on Hamas, which they do because the top Hamas leadership lives in Qatar. The top Hamas leadership lives in Qatar. Jain friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Now, Elon Musk is in Israel. Lately, Elon Musk had been the center of controversies where somebody using X, previously known as Twitter, he was there on that platform and somebody wrote something about Jews and this guy agreed and something about taking over the West from the other people and throwing out the other people or something like that, an anti-Semitic sort of a tweet which he agreed to. And this caused a great deal of uproar. There was a huge problem for this guy, Elon Musk, and he didn't know where to go. Now he finds himself in Israel. And there he is received by none other than Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what has happened. Now, Elon Musk visited a kibbutz. A kibbutz is something like a settlement. Kibbutz is a Hebrew word. He goes to a settlement and targeted by Palestinian gunmen in Israel. So he's talking about 7th of October this year when the Hamas attack happened. So he was taken, Elon Musk was taken to that kibbutz and shown that, hey, here is the place where Israelis were killed by Hamas. During his visit with Netanyahu, Musk described the scene at Kfar Aza as a massacre. He says it's a massacre and asserted that Israel has no choice but to eliminate Hamas. Now, this coming from Elon Musk is a big deal because Elon Musk, you know something about Twitter? Twitter has a lesser number of users than Instagram. Twitter has far lesser number of users than Facebook. But Twitter is the most influential because all the heads of state are on Twitter, almost. All government decisions are communicated on Twitter. So while the usage of Twitter per se is lesser than Instagram and lesser than Facebook, but Twitter has outsized influence. So this is why Elon Musk becomes important and Twitter becomes, now X, it becomes more important. So ladies and gentlemen, he says that Israel has no choice but to eliminate Hamas, and then the visit occurred during a truce between Israel and Hamas with ongoing efforts to exchange captives and prisoners. Now Musk has met the Israeli president, Isaac Herzog. Now Isaac Herzog has said that you have special responsibility because you own the most influential social media platform in the world, X, previously Twitter. And he says that you have a special responsibility for, anti-Semitic tweets, anti-Semitism. You need to stand up against it. So this is the understanding. And also in another news, ladies and gentlemen, Israel has reached an agreement in principle to use SpaceX's Starlink in Gaza. Earlier Israel had a lot of problem regarding this. Israel said, no, it's going to be used by Hamas terrorists. Is going to be used by Islamic Jihad and other terrorist organizations. But now, apparently, what I'm learning now is that Elon Musk has assured the Israelis that nothing could be further from the truth. He will ensure that this is not misused. And therefore, the Israelis have agreed to let the Starlink, give internet connections all over Gaza once again. Musk's visit is expected to enhance relations with Israel, and X post from the Israeli communication minister expressed hope for a future collaboration. Now, this is as far as Elon Musk is concerned and his visit to Israel is concerned. Now, in another news, what has happened is that the Indian consular camps in Surrey go ahead despite heavy protests. So in Surrey, Surrey is in British Columbia in Canada, and they were meeting at Lakshmi Narayan Mandir. Now, you have consulates everywhere. You have the main embassy or the High Commission, and then you have consulates everywhere, right? So what the consulate people do is reach out to the Indian diaspora. I'm talking specifically about Canada. They reach out to the Indian diaspora, and if somebody has a problem regarding their passport, regarding visa, regarding anything which the Indian government can help them with, they go ahead and help them. So this time they chose the Lakshmi Narayan Mandir or the Lakshmi Narayan Temple, which is pretty central, and they collected in Surrey in British Columbia, and this is what happened. As soon as the people started getting together, the Khalistanis came to know, and Khalistanis also reached there and they started protesting. But what the Khalistanis did not know is that 200 people who were there at the temple, they stood up in front of the Khalistanis and they started this counter-protest, and somebody called the cops. And when the cops came, They thrashed the Khalistanis and the Khalistanis ran away. So, why did the consul people go there? Actually, life certificate, there is a system in India of giving life certificates to old pensioners. Old pensioners who are sometimes unwell. So, they need to give proof of life. I think this happens all over the world. It happens in India. It also happens in the armed forces, happens everywhere. So, anybody who's getting a government pension will need to give a sort of a life certificate saying that, I'm alive and well. And this happens once a year for pensioners over a certain age. So, if they're over a certain age, then this happens once in a year. I'm aware of this rule. So, they had gone there and they have distributed close to 900 life certificates. Can you imagine the good work that our consulate is doing? And what are the Khalistanis doing? Protesting. Anyway, so what does this tell you, ladies and gentlemen? This tells you one simple thing. That when you start counter-protesting in front of the Khalistanis run away. If the Khalistanis realize that you are alone and there are 20 Khalistanis, they will attack you. That is the nature of Khalistanis. Like hyenas or wild dogs, they catch hold of one person and then they attack him. But if you're more than them, then Khalistanis run away. This also is the true nature of Khalistanis everywhere. Qatar claims that it had, sort of this deal between Israel and Hamas for an extension of the truce by 2 days. This was curated by Qatar. And the Palestinian authorities demand release of information about individuals detained by Israel military during the Gaza assault. And also the Qatari announcement followed global calls from leaders like Joe Biden, Joseph Borrell and Jens Stoltenberg to extend the humanitarian pause. Hamas agreed to a 2-day extension in truce negotiation facilitated by Qatar and Egypt. Now, I'd like to understand one thing, and this is part of the news. Now, my lack of understanding is that how is it that Qatar, and this is what I fail to understand, how is it that Qatar, which is an independent sovereign country, have such good relations with Hamas, which is a terror organization? How is that even possible? Qatar says and Egypt says, hey, we went to Hamas and we said, no fighting for the next 2 days, and they said, sure boss, done. How does that even work here? So, understand this. If they had this kind of hold on Hamas, which they do because the top Hamas leadership lives in Qatar. The top Hamas leadership lives in Qatar, which is why the Qataris have such a hold. Didn't the Qatari intelligence know that on 7th of October there would have been an attack or somebody's planning an attack? Did they have no idea? Or they had an idea and they deliberately did not stop it? What is the truth? People must find out the truth about Qatar. And ladies and gentlemen, the last news of the day is the rise of the right wing. I had promised that I'll sort of bring to you some news regarding the right wing, and here is some news. So now the first leader that I'm going to discuss is Geert Wilders. Obviously, in November 2023, he won the elections. Now he's looking for suitable partners to become the prime minister so he can create a government. He does not have absolute majority in the Netherlands parliament or in the Dutch parliament. He needs many more people to work with him. He's looking for those partners. He will get partners and hopefully he should become the prime minister of the Netherlands. Now, he was accused once of comparing the Quran to Mein Kampf, Hitler's infamous manifesto. Wilders denied the accusation but was fined 4,000 euros. In May 2023, Wilders was accused of inciting discrimination for leading supporters in a chant that they wanted fewer Moroccans in the Netherlands. Wilders denied the accusation, but he was fined £5,000. What's wrong in wanting fewer Moroccans? Even I want fewer Moroccans here. Why would somebody fine Wilders about this? Now, there is Dominic Tarczynski. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name incorrectly, but Dominic Tarczynski, his party is Law and Justice, and this is a Polish member of the European Parliament, and he says those who cross the border illegally are criminals. His comments reflect Poland's tough stance on illegal immigration. Dominic, a member of the European Parliament for Poland's governing Law and Justice Party, has stated that those who attempt to cross the border illegally are criminals. He made these remarks in response to the ongoing migrant crisis in Europe, which has seen a significant increase in the number of people attempting to enter the continent illegally. Now, the point is, there is nothing wrong in what Dominic has said. See, who's a criminal? A criminal is a guy who commits a crime. And what is a crime? When you break the law, it's a crime. So, if you come into a country illegally, you're breaking the law, because that is what passport and visas are for. You're supposed to have a valid passport, you're supposed to have a visa, and only then can you enter a country. But if you're entering without that, right, and getting through immigration and customs somehow and coming into the country. That's a criminal offense. I agree with this guy, absolutely. Absolutely on the button. Then there is Giorgia Meloni. She's become the Prime Minister of Italy in October 2022. Her party is called the Brothers of Italy. The party is far-right populist movement. Now, so this is another party. Giorgia Meloni's Brothers of Italy. And this party is also anti-immigration. Then Marine Le Pen, National Rally, is a French far-right politician who has been a prominent figure in French politics for many years. She is known for her anti-immigration and anti-Islam views, and her party, National Rally, is one of a number of populist movements that have emerged in Europe in recent years. Le Pen came second in the French presidential election in 2022. Now, here is where the cookie crumbles. So this lady came second in the French elections, right? Now, you know what happened in France in June and July, where immigrants burnt hundreds of houses. Immigrants burned thousands of automobiles. They burnt churches and they burnt museums. They burnt public infrastructure, public transport. And the French president, the current French president, he was seen as a person by the French, as a person who could not control all of this, and he let France burn. So who do you think is going to win in the next elections, or who do you think will increase their voter base exponentially? I think it's going to be the far right. And I think this whole trend of far right, rising all over. Even in Canada, the far right will rise. Trust you me when I say this, ladies and gentlemen, even in Canada, with, Justin Trudeau will lose the next elections. And I'm not saying that Canada will see a far-right government. I'm not making that claim, but I'm saying that the far-right in Canada will become more powerful politically. That is what I'm saying. And everywhere across the West, you will see countries coming into power who do not like immigrants, who are anti-Muslim. Such kind of parties will come to power. Look at the United States of America. So my friends, all throughout Europe and throughout the Western countries, you will see rise of such parties who are hardcore anti-immigration and hardcore anti-Muslim. It's already started. You look at Donald Trump. Again, I'm not saying that Donald Trump will become the president of the United States. I'm not saying that. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, I don't know. But you will find the far right in America also coming to power. This is bound to happen. This is bound to happen, I think. And let me not use the word good immigrants and bad immigrants, because I don't want to make that distinction, and I'm no one to make that distinction. But just for the sake of academics, just for the sake of discussion, let's say there are good immigrants. Good immigrants are those who are highly qualified people, who positively contribute to society or whichever country they come in. Then there are bad immigrants who live on welfare, who indulge in crime, who make ghettos, and they want some of them from countries like Morocco and countries like Syria and Pakistan actually want Sharia law to be implemented in that country. Case in point is Anjum Chaudhary, Pakistani preacher who wants the Buckingham Palace converted to a mosque, and at one point in time when the Queen was alive, he wanted the Queen to convert to Islam. So there is bound to be a backlash. Then there will be screams of Islamophobia, but always remember, Islamophobia is a result of pushing the majority to a corner. It's a backlash. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.